Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to make flat looking objects like squares and rectangles and triangles look three-dimensional so that you can draw things like they're popping off the page at you. And we're going to start with one-point perspective. One-point perspective is a drawing technique to help you make things look 3D, and also you can advance it to 2 points and 3 points. We're going to get into that in just a moment. So first thing you're going to do on your page, I'm going to show you one here and then do it on my own, is to draw your horizon line. And your horizon line is where the land and the sky meet, and it also equals your eye level. So for me, right now, I'm going to have it in the center of the page, as if I'm like just standing straight up, looking straight out, maybe across a lake or the ocean, and that's where it all comes together. Because remember how when we were kids, you used to draw like the sky up here at the top and the grass down at the bottom, and like there was just this big abyss in the middle? Well, things actually exist and happen in that space. And so what we're going to do here is put it all together. So first thing, I'm going to draw my horizon line. And I'm using a ruler, but I know a lot of us are at home. This is filming this during COVID, and you may not have a ruler at home, or you may need something else. So I have all kinds of other options here. Envelope could work, and the students, if you want to use just a regular piece of paper, notebook paper works, printer, this is just a piece of printer paper, really anything that's plain. Back of a piece of paper. Straight edge, I found some pasta here. This is a fabulous, nice long straight edge. This works. I have this book, great book at home that I can use the edge. I'd use the spine because this kind of flips up. I could use this as a straight edge, but I will need a straight edge for this essentially. I need a pencil because I'm going to be erasing, and a good eraser or even a separate eraser is even better because we'll go through this pretty quick because you end up drawing things that you're going to take away as guides. So I have first my horizon line, and this is telling me my eye level again and telling me where the land meets the sky. Now I also need a vanishing point. I'm going to put it all the way over here because I want this to be that place way off in the distance where things get so tiny they vanish. That's what the vanishing point is. I'm going to do more of my drawing over here because there's not really going to be buildings that are very big over here next to the vanishing point because they're about to vanish. So I'm going to make these things over here. So to start with, anytime I want to make a straight edge and actually make it sit on the page, I need to be careful that it's not tilty. If I want a tilty building, great, I can make it tilty. But if I want something to be straight, I'm going to make my straight edge flush, meaning even with the edge of the paper, and I'm going to draw out my straight lines. And I can even make it easy because this is practice right here. And look, wow, 2 straight lines, done. And then I'm going to go flush with the side of the paper, and I'm going to connect those so I have this like so, and then I can move my way around and do other parts. Now I do the same thing here. Look at, oh my gosh, I can just swap it out. It's like the cooking shows where all of a sudden there's a whole nother piece. Maybe I'll do one down here just for the same idea, just to give you something to practice with. Again, flush with the edges. Ooh, I should have done 2. Make this quicker, but that's okay. We'll go quick. So I can show you that boxes will change when they're above, below, or on the horizon line. If you're drawing buildings, most of the time they're going to be across the horizon line because they're going to start on land and go up into the sky. But if you have something that's sitting closer to you, that'll be there. This is going to be like a floating box. And this could be like a sun, and it's hard to draw a circle, right? So I found some little things. This is just a little, lotion. I could take this and trace it. That's how I did that one. Inside of a tape thing is kind of my tape dispenser. Look at that. I got a circle. So you can trace lots of things like this. Water bottle caps, things like that. Ooh, I see a little thing, Play-Doh. The little Play-Doh top would be good. All right, so got some options. Now, I have all these flat objects. I want to make them 3D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the corners to the vanishing point, because if they had depth, right now they have height and width, and we're adding depth. We're adding the deep space. So what I need to do is connect my corners to the vanishing points as if it's going back in space. Now, to do that, I'm going to start with the one on the bottom. I line up my ruler, and the vanishing point acts like a pivot point. So I can start here, and I pivot, and I go zoom, and I line it up, and then I hold my pencil there, I pivot it to the next corner, zoom. And if you make the sound effects, it will actually work better, just so you know. This one, now, here's my question. Do I do that one? If it's a see-through box, yes, I would like it to be a solid box. So No, the answer is no. I'm not going to do that one. But now I need to do the back because this is like way back in space, and most objects don't really go all the way to the vanishing point, right? So I'm going to start with my ruler, again, flush at the edge of my paper. Can you see that? Maybe I'll move it up just a little bit. At the edge of my paper, so I know that it's nice and straight and parallel. I line it up to that edge, and then I'm going to slide it over and say, maybe my box goes about this far back. And I'm going to draw the back edge of the box. The front edge and the back edge always have to be parallel, meaning they could go forever and ever and they'd never touch. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to line it up. And then when I get to the other line there, come on, hard to see with my camera there. So there we go. There's the back of my box. Now, the reason why I want an eraser is because then I can get rid of these lines. I'm just going to erase a little bit so we can kind of see. So draw light as you're doing these are called your vanishing lines. Vanishing lines. As you do these and you go back there, keep these especially pretty light. And then you can always go back and darken these edges if you want. You know, you can do it with your ruler if you want to be more specific. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add a little sun. Hello, sun. Oh, it's a nice sunny day in our new little land. And then that'll help us decide how to shade this. So I'm going to take these off now so I can shade it in. So over here, this is going to be the brightest because it's facing my light source. Here, there's going to be a little bit of shadow, right? So maybe I'll just go in here, and this is practice, so I'm not shading super perfectly, but it does help to shade in one direction whenever you're shading. So I'm just going to kind of like, okay, so give this an indication. This would be darker on this side. And then this is the bottom. It's not really seeing light at all. So if I were to shade this is going to be a lot darker. And I just like to add a little indication of shading so that I can see the 3D-ness of my box. Woo, bam, it's coming out at me right now. There we go. Now, how about this one? This one is on the horizon line. So now when I connect my vanishing lines from the vanishing point to my object, what's going to happen, and it hits this box. Ooh, so glad that happened so I can show you. I'm going to stop because it would be like this is ahead of it in space. So I don't need to draw all the way to the vanishing point there. And then for the side of the box, I'm going to start with my edge so I know it's parallel, slide it over, edge of my piece is flush with the edge of the paper, and maybe my building here goes about this far. Now, I did this in marker so you could see it. This I would have to erase, but you know, that's okay. So now this is going to have more light. This might have a little bit of shading on this side. So I have a box that could look like a building. I could do something like put a door on here. Maybe it's a multi-floor building. Now anything on this front part is just going to be horizontal and vertical. So if I wanted to add these details, they're going to be like this, right? But these have to go to the vanishing point. Those aren't so straight. This is not a good demo if my lines aren't straight. I should use my ruler. Now you know. So there we go, I got my vertical lines. Now these, I could do something like maybe I'll make some lines that are 1, 2, 3, 4, every ½ inch. And then I would connect those, like my pivot, to the vanishing point. Let's make sure that's on the screen. And I could make my building details. There we go. I feel like I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I should have shown you how to draw all the boxes and then do the details. So maybe we'll come back to this. If this is like, what? Just don't worry about it. So there we go. I have details that go back into space, and I have details that are horizontal and vertical on the front. I'm gonna do this box now, and then I would erase my vanishing lines. Forgot that part. And then erase. See? Building. Do you see it? Do you see the building? Now, ooh, this almost lines up. So I'm going to go this corner, go back. Not going to do that one because it goes through the box. I'm going to do this one because it doesn't go through the box, so it's solid. And then I'm going to do, oops, this line. I'm going to stop here at my circle. And maybe I'll make this, let's see, start here, make it flush with the edge. Start here, flush with the edge, line it up, and there we go. So I could do the same and shade this box in. You see my boxes, yay! Now, a sphere. How do I do a sphere? Here's the thing, if I do the same rule where I draw like an edge behind it, it's gonna look like a cap. So let's say I do this here, and here I gotta find the corner. See how I connected the corners? here there's no corner, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm starting at my pivot, at my vanishing point, and I'm going like swiveling, and when I get to the point where it's like, oh, right there, it barely touches, that's essentially my corner. I know it's not a corner, but you know what I'm saying. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pivot to the other side. When I get to the point of the circle where it barely touches, then I go there. Now, I can't use my ruler. I got to just try and match it. So what I'm getting is it looks like a cylinder, right? So I'm trying to make this parallel to this. So I get this cylinder, and I get like a wheel if you were to do something like that. See, here's my wheel. Here's the center of my wheel. Like I have treads. I don't know, something like that. But now I have a three-dimensional wheel. It's still not a sphere. So a sphere is really only going to look 3D by your shading. So if the light source is here, this is going to be like my lightest part. And then here is where it's going to be darkest, right? Away from the light source. And so I'm going to use curved directional lines that are going to be darkest in this corner. And I can start to sort of circle around. I'm using real light pressure here with my pencil so that it looks lighter. And then I'm going to darken over here. So that now, do you start to see the sphere coming to life? It's starting to look 3D. There we go. So I have some 3D buildings. I have a wheel-ish thing. It's a wide wheel. And a sphere. So this is for you to practice and play with, my students. Enjoy. I want to see today, I don't know, let's say, can you do 8 to 10 boxes and or spheres? There you go. That's your assignment. Have fun. Thank you.